just turned 12, and my nephew Caleb just turned 17. I cannot believe we're at this point. Missy's hosting a big birthday party for the two of them. Caleb got to choose what we're having for dinner at Missy's. He picked pulled pork, which is his absolute favorite food. And that meant Todd got to choose the cake. He's a big fan of confetti cake, and the more layers, the better. I've just greased and floured 3 cake pans. And now I'll whip up the dry ingredients for the batter. It's cake flour, then all-purpose flour, baking powder, and some salt. Then I just whisk it together. I swear I say this same thing every year about this time. I cannot believe my baby Todd is a year older. It seems like literally yesterday that I was carrying him around on my hip. He was the cutest baby, cutest little boy. And I could say the same thing for Caleb. He was the first boy of the family, the first male grandchild. Oh my gosh, he was cute. He had the most adorable face. It's kind of nice that Todd and Caleb are 5 years apart. They get along so well. Todd really looks up to Caleb. Caleb taught him how to say, yes, ma'am, yes, sir. He's a pretty good role model. The dry ingredients are whisked together. Now, I've got 3 sticks of butter and 2 1/4 cups of sugar that I've been beating in the mixer. And now I'll add in some egg whites. I have 6 egg whites total, and I'm gonna add about 2 at a time. The secret is to beat the mixture well after each addition so air gets worked in. Then, since it's a vanilla cake, some vanilla extract. And the next step is to add the dry and wet mixes, starting with the dry, then the wet, more dry, more wet, more dry, and the final batch of the wet. I'll beat all that together until it's just incorporated. Okay, that's the batter almost ready. Just one final ingredient. This is such a beautiful, basic white cake batter. To turn it into confetti cake batter, I'm gonna add rainbow sprinkles, a whole cupful, which is a lot, but this is a 3-layer cake. I like to fold it in manually instead of putting it in the mixer. Sometimes the mixer can break up the sprinkles a little bit and cause a mess. You want it to be a little bit of a mess, but a controlled mess. I think that is looking great. I'll get the same amount of batter, give or take, in each of the 3 pans. We often have a joint birthday party for Caleb and Todd, and they have never minded it. Everybody gets along. The young kids hang out with the old kids. The old kids don't mind it, which is really nice. The 2 birthday boys are actually hanging out together this afternoon. It's nice that they're 5 years apart. They really enjoy each other. Okay, cakes are ready to go into the oven. They're gonna bake at 350 degrees for 30 minutes. Okay, the cakes are baked and cooled. I'm just gonna let them rest while I make the frosting. Now, typically I would be tempted to make a super easy buttercream with powdered sugar and butter, but since it's a special occasion, I'm gonna make traditional Swiss buttercream. It's a little bit trickier, but oh my goodness, it's worth every second. I just added 8 egg whites to a bowl over simmering water, and I'll add 2 cups of sugar. And now it's time to start the whisking process, starting by hand. It takes a couple of minutes of whisking for the mixture to warm up and the sugar to dissolve. And the next step is to put the sugar and egg whites into the mixer and let it go to work, whisking for about 5 minutes. Time's up, so the speed goes up to medium-high, and I'll give it another 7 minutes. Now, with the speed on medium-low, I'll add unsalted room temperature butter, cut into pieces a bit at a time, beating well in between. Then turn up the speed to high to get it just right. The last thing to add is the vanilla, just a teaspoon. And then I need to let this mix for another 5 minutes. I cannot imagine whipping this by hand. Boy, am I glad we live in the modern age. We're having a joint birthday party for Caleb and Todd at Missy's house tonight, and I get to make the official birthday cake. Todd picked it. It's gonna be a 3-layer confetti cake. I'm gonna get it frosted now. I'll start by putting a cup of this absolutely beautiful buttercream right on top. I sliced off the very top of each layer just to make sure the cake is super even. Now it's just about spreading each layer with frosting and coating the outside. I spread about a cup of the frosting on each layer and build up through the cakes, ending with the third one bottom side up to get a good flat surface. Then I spread the rest of the frosting over the top and sides of the cake. An offset spatula is my weapon of choice. Okay, that's it for the frosting. Now I'll move on to decorating. I'm gonna do a little special something with sprinkles. I made a stencil with a T for Todd and a C for Caleb. I used wax paper, and I'll just set it carefully on top and grab the rest of the sprinkles that I didn't use. And I'm gonna be really careful and sprinkle the sprinkles right inside the letters. Todd and Caleb are hanging out, and Hallie and Paige are also hanging out. They're gonna run get balloons for the party later. It's really nice to have kids that can drive. They can run all these errands for us. Okay, I'm just gonna lightly press to make sure the sprinkles stay put when I take the stencil off. And I'll use a brush to just brush away the excess. Okay, give them one final press. And then I'll grab the wax paper and carefully peel it off. And we've got a sprinkly T and a sprinkly C. I've just got to get the cake into a cake carrier. I sure hope it makes it to Missy's in one piece. This is it, Missy. Oof. Should we just split them in half and go for it?
Okay.
Let's call them in. All right, you guys make a wish. Ready, set, go. Ready, baby? Get your plate.
I do.
Woo, there you go.